Welcome, crew, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, anyone who's out there beyond the Omniverse and back. Thank you so much for listening to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, June 16th, Monday, June 17th. For those of you across the pond and beyond, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. And thank you so much for joining me this evening on VR Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I can't say thank you enough. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and we are broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. If you're listening live right now, you may be listening to us on Spreaker.com, under We Are Paradox Media, on KPNL Radio, which you can find at kpnl-db.com, or KPNL Radio at kpnl-db.com, and eTalk Radio, which you can find at etalk.tv/radio. If you'd like to watch as well as listen, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch under We Are Paradox Media. If you like to listen to us in your free time, whether you're working in it or working out, just tune into wherever you listen to your podcast, and you should be able to find us there. So let me just check my sound really quick. Make sure I'm not blasting your earballs with this music. And turn it down just a smidge. Just a smidge. So, this is my favorite time of the week. It's story time with me, TessaTNT, and tonight we are getting back into our book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm super excited about it. I've really been enjoying this book, and I looked yesterday, we are exactly halfway through this. So, we're making good time. I feel bad because there's somebody who's waiting for this book at the library, and, yeah. For some apparent reason, we're kind of lagging. It looks good right now, so I don't know. Maybe I should just quit making very quick movements. Now, this is by Mr. Douglas Adams. He's got several books in this. Here's Mr. Adams himself. And yeah, I was with my girl Cassie at the library, and I was just walking around killing time while she was on the computer, etc. And I saw one of the books, Mostly Harmless, on the shelf near the back window, and I was like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of one of these mystery crime shows. Actually, I think it was on Netflix, and it was called Mostly Harmless, and it's about a hiker that was found deceased in his tent. Sorry, I just had to make sure my bitty boomer was off before it scared me. Nobody knew who he was. They only knew him as Mostly Harmless because I guess hikers have a different name than their original, but they eventually, through a lot of prowess and a lot of, what is it called? I want to say sniping, but it's not. Sleuthing and stuff like that on the internet, they eventually found him. But if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's pretty interesting. So we are now on Chapter 15. Excerpt from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, page 634784, section 5A, entry Magrathia. Far back in the mists of ancient time, in the great and glorious days of the former galactic empire, life was wild, rich, and largely tax-free. Wouldn't that be great? Mighty starships plied their way between exotic suns, seeking adventure and reward among the furthest reaches of the galactic space. In those days, spirits were brave, and stakes were high. Men were real men, women were real women, and small free creatures from Alpha Centauri, were real small furry creatures from Alpha Centauri, and all dared to brave unknown terrors, to do mighty deeds, to boldly split infinitives that no man had split before, and thus was the empire forged. Many men, of course, became extremely rich, but this was perfectly natural and nothing to be ashamed of, because no one was really poor, at least no one worth speaking of. Let me just make sure my sound's working here. I just have to make sure that I'm unmuted because sometimes I forget that. I gotta check myself before I wreck myself. Okay, so many men, of course, became extremely rich, but this was perfectly natural and nothing to be ashamed of because no one was really poor. At least no one worth speaking of. For all the richest and most successful merchants, life inevitably became rather dull and niggly, and then began to imagine that this was therefore the fault of the worlds that they'd settled on. None of them was entirely satisfactory. Either the climate wasn't quite right in the latter part of the afternoon, or the day was half an hour too long, or the sea was exactly the wrong shade of pink, and thus were created the conditions for its staggering new form of specialist industry. Custom-made luxury planet building. The home of this industry was the planet Magrathia, where hyperspatial engineers sucked matter through white holes in space to form it into dream planes, gold planets, platinum planets, soft rubber planets with lots of earthquakes, all lovingly made to meet the exacting standards that the galaxy's richest men naturally came to expect. But so successful was this venture that Magrathia itself soon became the richest planet of all time, and the rest of the galaxy was reduced to abject poverty. And so the system broke down, the empire collapsed, and a long, sullen silence settled over 1 billion hungry worlds, disturbed only by the pen-scratchings of scholars as they labored into the night over smug little treatises on the value of a planned political economy. Magrathia itself disappeared, and its memory soon passed into the obscurity of legend. In these enlightened days, of course, no one believes a word of it. So I did have to mention also, whoever's over there on YouTube, I got a new fan! So that's why you can't hear it going, that thing would just go crazy. $15, and it's just so much nicer in here. I'm not sweating my boots off. Chapter 16. Arthur woke to the sound of argument and went to the bridge. Ford was waving his arms about. "You're crazy, Zafar," he was saying. Magrathia is a myth, a fairy story. It's what parents tell their kids about at night if they want them to grow up to become economists. And that's what we are currently in orbit about, insisted Zafar. "Look, I can't help what you may personally be in orbit around," said Ford. "But this ship, computer," shouted Zafar. "Oh no." "Hi there, this is Eddie, your shipboard computer. And I'm feeling just great, guys, and I know I'm just going to get a bundle of kicks out of any program you care to run through me." Arthur looked inquiringly at a Trillion. She motioned him to come on in, but kept quiet. "Computer," said Zafar, "tell us what our present trajectory is." A real pleasure, feller, it burbled. We are currently in orbit at an altitude of 300 miles around the legendary planet of Magrathia. Nothing, said Ford. I wouldn't trust that computer to speak my weight. I can do that for you, sure. Enthused, the computer punched out more ticker tape. Can even work out your personality problems to 10 decimal places, if it will help. Trillian interrupted. Zaphod, she said. Any minute now, we will be swinging round the daylight side of this planet, adding, whatever it turns out to be. Hey, what do you mean by that? The planet's where I predicted it would be, isn't it? Yes, I know there's a planet there. I'm not arguing with anyone. It's just that I wouldn't know Magrathia from any other lump of cold rock. Dawn's coming up if you want it. Okay, muttered Zaphod. Let's at least give our eyes a good time. Computer! Hi there, what can I... Just shut up and give us a view of the planet again. A dark, featureless mass once more filled the screens. The planet rolled away beneath them. They watched for a moment in silence, but Zaphod was fidgety with excitement. We are now traversing the night side, he said in a hushed voice. The planet rolled on. The surface of the planet is now 300 miles beneath us, he continued. He was trying to restore a sense of occasion to what he felt should have been a greater moment. Magrathia. He was piqued by Ford's skeptical reaction. Magrathia. In a few seconds, he continued, we should see. There. The moment carried itself. Even the most seasoned star tramp can't help but shiver at the spectacular drama of a sunrise seen from space. But a binary sunrise is one of the marvels of the galaxy. Hey, Adrian. Out of the utter blackness stabbed a sudden point of blinded light. It crept up by sight, in slight degrees, and spread sideways in a thin crescent blade. And within seconds, two suns were visible, furnaces of light searing the black edge of the horizon with white fire. Fierce shafts of color streaked through the thin atmosphere beneath them. The fires of dawn, breathed Zaphod, the twin sons of Solenius and Ram. Or whatever, said Ford quietly. Solianus and Ram, insisted Zaphod. The suns blazed into the pitch of space, and a low ghostly music floated through the bridge. Marvin was humming ironically because he hated humans so much. Poor guy. As Ford gazed at the spectacle of light before them, excitement burned inside him, but only the excitement of seeing a strange new planet. It was enough for him to see it as it was. It faintly irritated him that Zaphod had to impose some ludicrous fantasy onto the scene to make it work for him. All this Magrathia nonsense seemed juvenile. Isn't it enough to see that a garden was beautiful without having to believe that there are fairies at the bottom of it too? All this Magrathia business seemed totally incomprehensible to Arthur. He edged up to Trillian and asked her what was going on. I only know what Zaphod told me, she whispered. Apparently, Magrathia is some kind of legend from way back, which no one seriously believes in. Bit like Atlantis on Earth, except the legends say that Magrathians used to manufacture planets. Arthur blinked at the screens and felt he was missing something important. Suddenly, he realized what it was. Is there any tea on the spaceship? He asked. More of the planet was unfolding beneath them, as the heart of gold strayed along its orbital path. The suns now stood high in the black sky. Pyrotechnics of dawn were over, and the surface of the planet appeared bleak and forbidding in the common light of day. Gray, dusty, and only dimly contoured. It looked dead and cold as a crypt, from time to time promising features would disappear on the distant horizon. Ravines, maybe mountains, maybe even cities, but as they approached the lines would soften and blur into anonymity, and nothing would transpire. The planet's surface was blurred by time, by the slow movement of the thin, stagnant air that had crept across it for century upon century. very, very old. A moment of doubt came to Ford as he watched the gray landscape move beneath him. The immensity of time worried him. He could feel it as a presence. He cleared his throat. Well, even supposing it is, said Zaphod. Which it isn't, continued Ford. What do you want with it anyway? There's nothing there. Not on the surface, said Zaphod. All right, just supposing there's something. I take it you're not here for the sheer industrial architectural archaeology of it all. What are you after? One of Zaphod's heads looked away. The other one looked around to see what the first was looking at. But it wasn't looking at anything very much. Well, said Zaphod airily, it's partly the curiosity, partly a sense of adventure. But mostly, I think it's the fame and the money. Ford glanced at him sharply. He got a very strong impression that Zaphod hadn't the faintest idea why he was there at all. You know, I don't like that look of that planet at all, said Trillian, shivering. I'll take no notice, said Zaphod. With half the wealth of the former galactic empire stored on it, somewhere he can afford to look frumpy. Bullshit, thought Ford. Even supposing this was the home of some ancient civilization, now gone to dust, even supposing a number of exceedingly unlikely things, there was no way that vast treasures of wealth were going to be stored there in any form that would still have meaning now. He shrugged. I think it's just a dead planet, he said. The suspense is killing me, said Arthur testily. Stress and nervous tensions are now serious social problems in all parts of the galaxy. And it is in order that this situation should be in any way exasperated that the following facts will now be revealed in advance. The planet in question is in fact the legendary Magrathia. The deadly missile attack shortly to be launched by an ancient automatic defense system will result merely in the breakage of 3 coffee cups and a mouse cage, the bruising of somebody's upper arm, and the untimely creation and sudden demise of a bowl of petunias and an innocent sperm whale. In order that some sense of mystery should still be preserved, no revelation will yet be made concerning whose upper arm sustains the bruise. This fact may safely be made the subject of suspense, since it is of no significance whatsoever. Chapter 17. After a fairly shaky start to the day, Arthur's mind was beginning to reassemble itself from the shell-shocked fragments the previous day had left him with. He had found a new dramatic machine which had provided him with a plastic cup filled with a liquid that was almost but not quite entirely unlike tea. The way it functioned was very interesting. When the drink button was pressed, it made an instant, highly detailed examination of the subject's taste buds. A spectroscopic analysis of the subject's metabolism, and then sent tiny experimental signals down the neural pathways to the taste centers of the subject's brain to see what was likely to go down well. However, no one knew quite why it did this, because it invariably delivered a cupful of liquid that was almost, but not quite, entirely unlike tea. The new Traumatic was designed and manufactured by the Sirius Cybernetics Corporation, whose complaints department now covers all the major landmasses of the first 3 planets in the Sirius Tau star system. Arthur drank the liquid and found it reviving. He glanced up at the screens again and watched a few more 100 miles of barren grayness slide past. It suddenly occurred to him to ask a question that had been bothering him. Is it safe? He said. Magrathia has been dead for 5 million years, said Zaphod. Of course it's safe. Even the ghosts will have settled down and raised families by now. I didn't even know ghosts had families. At which point a strange, inexplicable sound thrilled suddenly through the bridge. a noise as of distant fanfare, a hollow, weedy, insubstantial sound. It preceded a voice that was equally hollow, reedy, and insubstantial. The voice said, "Greetings to you." Someone from the dead planet was talking to them. "Computer!" shouted Zaphod. "Hi there!" "What the photon is it?" "Oh, just some 5 million-year-old tape that's being broadcast at us." "A what? A recording?" "Shush," said Ford. "It's carrying on." The voice was old, courteous, almost charming, but was underscored with quite unmistakable menace. "This is a recorded announcement," it said, "and I'm afraid we're all out at the moment. The Commercial Council of Magrathia thanks you for your esteemed visit." A voice from ancient Magrathia shouted. Zaphod, Okay, said Ford. "But regrets," continued the voice, "that the entire planet is temporarily closed for business. Thank you. If you would care to leave your name and the address of a planet where you can be contacted, kindly speak when you hear the tone." Beep. Then followed silence. "They want to get rid of us," said Trillian nervously. "What do we do?" "It was a recording," said Zaphod. "We keep going. Got that, computer?" "I got it," said the computer, and gave the ship an extra kick of speed. They waited. After a second or so came the fanfare once again, and then the voice. "We would like to assure you that as soon as our business is resumed, announcements will be made in all fashionable magazines and color supplements, when our clients will once again be able to select from all that's best in contemporary geography. The menace in the voice took on a sharper edge. "Meanwhile, we thank our clients for their kind interest and would ask them to leave now." Arthur looked round the nervous faces of his companions. "Well, I suppose we'd better go then, hadn't we?" he suggested. "Shh," said Zaphod. "There's absolutely nothing to be worried about." "Then why is everybody so tense?" "They're just interested," shouted Zaphod. "Computer, start a descent into the atmosphere and prepare your landing." This time, the fanfare was quite perfunctory, the voice now distinctly cold. "It is most gratifying," it said, "that your enthusiasm for our planet continues unabated, and so we would like to assure you that the guided missiles currently converging with your ship are part of a special service we extend to all of our most enthusiastic clients. And the fully armed nuclear warheads are, of course, merely a courtesy detail. We look forward to your custom in future lives. Thank you." The voice snapped off. "Oh," said Trillian. Said Arthur. "Well," said Ford. "Look," said Zaphod. "Will you get into your heads? That's just a recorded message. It's millions of years old. It doesn't apply to us. Get it?" "What?" said Trillian quietly. "About the missiles." "Missiles? Don't make me laugh." Ford tapped Zaphod on the shoulder and pointed at a rear screen. Clear in the distance behind them, 2 silver darts were climbing through the atmosphere towards the ship. A quick change of magnification brought them into close focus. 2 massively real rockets thundering through the sky. The suddenness of it was shocking. "I think they're going to have a very good try at applying to us," said Ford. Zaphod stared at them in astonishment. "Hey, this is terrific," he said. "Someone down there is trying to kill us." That's so exciting. "Terrific," said Arthur. "But don't you see what this means? Yes, we're going to die." "Yes, but apart from that, it means we must be on to something. How soon can we get off it?" Second by second, the image of the missiles on the screen grew larger. They had spun around now onto a direct homing course, so that all that could be seen of them now was the warheads head-on. "As a matter of interest," said Trillian, "what are we going to do?" "Just keep moving," said Zaphod. "Is that all?" shouted Arthur. No, we're also going to, take evasive action, said Zaphod, with a sudden access of panic. Computer, what evasive action can we take? None, I'm afraid, guys, said the computer. Or something, said Zaphod. He said. There seems to be something jamming my guidance systems, explained the computer brightly. Impact, minus 45 seconds. Please call me Eddie, if it will help you to relax. Zaphod tried to run several equally decisive directions simultaneously. Kind of reminds me of Scooby-Doo. Right, he said. We've got to get manual control of the ship. Can you fly her? Asked Ford pleasantly. No, can you? No. Trillian, can you? Nope. Fine, said Zaphod, relaxing. We'll do it together. I can either, said Arthur. He felt it was time. He began to assert himself. I guessed that, said Zaphod. Okay, computer. I want full manual control now. You got it, said the computer. Several large desk panels slid open, and banks of control consoles sprang up out of them, showering the crew with bits of expanded polystyrene packaging and balls of rolled-up cellophane. These controls had never been used before. Zaphod stared at them wildly. Okay, Ford, he said. Full retro thrust, and 10 degrees starboard, or something. Goodbye, chirped the computer. Impact minus 30 seconds. Ford leaped to the controls. Only a few of them made any immediate sense to him, so he pulled those. The ship shook and screamed as its guidance rocket jets tried to push it every which way simultaneously. He released half of them, and the ship spun round in a tight arc and headed back the way it had come, straight toward the oncoming missiles. Air cushions ballooned out of the walls in an instant as everyone was thrown against them. For a few seconds, the inertial forces held them flattened and squirmed from beneath, unable to move. Zaphod struggled and pushed in mad desperation, and finally managed a savage kick at a small lever that formed part of the guidance system. The lever snapped off. The ship twisted sharply and rocketed upward. The crew were hurled violently back across the cabin. Ford's copy of the Hitchhikers Guide to the Galaxy smashed into another section of the control console, with the combined result that the guide started to explain to anyone who cared to listen about the best ways of smuggling. Antarian parakeet clans out of the Antarian parakeet clan, stuck on a small stick, is a revolting but much sought-after cocktail delicacy, and very large sums of money are often paid for them by very rich idiots who want to impress other very rich idiots. And the ship suddenly dropped out of the sky like a stone. It was of course more or less at this moment that one of the crew sustained a nasty bruise to the upper arm. Hey Jay, good evening, happy Father's Day! This should be emphasized because, as has already been revealed, they escaped otherwise completely unharmed, and the deadly nuclear missiles do not eventually hit the ship. The safety of the crew is absolutely assured. Impact minus 20 seconds, guys, said the computer. Then turn the bloody engines back on, bawled Zaphod. Oh, sure thing, guys, said the computer. With a subtle roar, the engines cut back in. The ship smoothly flattened out of its dive and headed back toward the missiles again. The computer started to sing. When you walk through the storm, it whined nasally. Hold your head up high. Zaphod screamed at it to shut up, but his voice was lost in the din of what they quite naturally assumed was approaching destruction. And don't be afraid of the dark, Eddie wailed. The ship, in flattening out, had in fact flattened out upside down and lying on the ceiling as they were. It was now totally impossible for any of the crew to reach the guidance systems. At the end of the storm, crooned Eddie, the two missiles loomed massively on the screens as they thundered toward the ship. "It's a golden sky," but by the extraordinarily lucky chance that had not yet fully corrected their flight paths to that of the erratically weaving the ship, and they passed right under it. And the sweet silver song of the lark. Revised impact time 15 seconds, fellas. Walk on through the wind. The missiles banked round in a screeched arc and plunged back in pursuit. "This is it," said Arthur, watching them. "We are now quite definitely going to die, aren't we?" "I wish you'd stop saying that," shouted Ford. "Well, we are, aren't we?" "Yeah." "Walk on through the rain," sang Eddie. The thought struck Arthur. He shrugged and struggled to his feet. "Why doesn't anyone turn on this improbability drive thing?" he said. "We could probably reach that." "What? Are you crazy?" said Zaphod. "Without proper programming, anything could happen." "Does that matter at this stage?" shouted Arthur. "Let your dreams be tossed and blown," sang Eddie. Arthur scrambled up onto the one of the excitingly chunky pieces of molded contouring where the curve of the wall met the ceiling. Walk on, with hope in your heart. "Does anyone know why Arthur can't turn on the improbability drive?" shouted Trillian. "And you'll never walk alone. Impact minus 5 seconds. It's been great knowing you guys. God bless. You'll never walk alone." "I said," yelled Trillian. "Does anyone know?" The next thing that happened was a mind-mangling explosion of noise and light. Chapter 18. And the next thing that happened after that was that the Heart of Gold continued on its way perfectly normally with a rather fetchingly redesigned interior. It was somewhat larger and done out in delicate pastel shades of green and blue. In the center, a spiral staircase, leading nowhere in particular, stood in a spray of ferns and yellow flowers, and next to it a stone sundial pedestal housed the main computer terminal. Cunningly deployed, lighting and mirrors created the illusion of standing in a conservatory overlooking a wild stretch of exquisitely manicured garden. Around the periphery of the conservatory area stood marble-topped tables on intricately beautiful wrought iron legs. As you gazed into the polished surface of the marble, the vague forms of instruments became visible, and as you touched them, the instruments materialized instantly under your hands. Looked at from the correct angles, the mirrors appeared to reflect all the required data readouts. It was far from clear where they were reflected from. It was in fact sensationally beautiful. Relaxing in a wickerwork sun chair, Zaphod Beeblebrock said, "What the hell happened?" "Well, I was just saying," said Arthur, lounging by a small fish pool. "There's this improbability drive switch over here." He waved at where it had been. "There was a potted plant there now." "But where are we?" said Ford, who was sitting on the spiral staircase, a nicely chilled pan-galactic gargle blaster in his hand. "Exactly where we were, I think," said Trillian. As all about them, the mirrors suddenly showed them an image of the blighted landscape of Magrathia, which still scooted along beneath them. Zaphod leaped out of his seat. "And what's happened to the missiles?" he said. A new and astounding image appeared in the mirrors. "They would appear," said Ford doubtably, "to have turned into a bowl of petunias and a very surprised-looking whale." "But an improbability factor," cut in Eddie, who hadn't changed a bit, "of 8,767,128 to 1 against." Zaphod stared at Arthur. "Did you think of that, Earthman?" he demanded. "Well," said Arthur, "all I did was... That's very good thinking, you know. Turn on the improbability drive for a second without first activating the proofing screens. Hey kid, you just saved our lives, you know that?" "Oh," said Arthur. "It It's nothing really, was it? Says Zaphod. Oh well, forget it then. Okay, computer, take us into land. But I said forget. Another thing that had gotten forgotten was the fact that, against all probability, a sperm whale had suddenly been called into existence several miles above the surface of an alien planet. And since this is not a naturally tenable position for a whale, this poor innocent creature had very little time to come to terms with its identity as a whale before it then to come to terms with not being a whale anymore. This is a complete record of its thought from the moment it began its life till the moment it ended it. Ah, what's happening? It thought. Excuse me, who am I? Hello? Why am I here? What's my purpose in life? What do I mean by who am I? Calm down, get a grip now. Oh, this is an interesting sensation. What is it? It's sort of yawning, tingling sensation in my, well, I suppose I'd better start finding names for things if I want to make any headway, and what for the sake of what I shall call an argument, I shall call the world. So let's call it my stomach. Good. Oh, it's getting quite strong. And hey, what about this whistling, roaring sound going past what I'm suddenly going to call my head? Perhaps I can call that wind? Is that a good name? It'll do. Perhaps I can find a better name for it later when I found out what it's for. It must be something very important because there certainly seems to be a hell of a lot of it. Hey, what's this thing? This, let's call it a tail? Yeah, tail. Hey, I can really thrash it about pretty good, can I? Wow, that feels great. It doesn't seem to achieve very much, but I'll probably find out what it's for later on. Now, have I built up any coherent picture of things yet? No, never mind. Hey, this is really exciting. So much to find out about. So much to look forward to. I'm quite dizzy with anticipation. Or is it wind? There really is a lot of that now, isn't there? And wow, hey, what's this thing suddenly coming towards me very fast? Very fast. So big and flat and round. It needs a big, wide sounding name like, round? Ground? That's it. That's a good name. Ground. I wonder if it will be friends with me. And the rest, after a sudden wet thud, was silence. That's terrible. Curiously enough, the only thing that went through the mind of the bowl of petunias as it fell was, oh no, not again. Many people have speculated that if we knew exactly why the bowl of petunias had thought that we could know a lot more about the nature of the universe than we do now. Chapter 19. Are we taking this robot with us? Said Ford, looking with distaste at Marvin, who was standing in an awkward hunched posture in the corner under a small palm tree. Zaphod glanced away from the mirror screens, which presented a panoramic view of the blighted landscape on which the Heart of Gold had now landed. Oh, the paranoid android, he said. Yeah, we'll take him. But what are you supposed to do with a manically depressed robot? You think you've got problems? Said Marvin, as if he was addressing a newly occupied coffin. What are you supposed to do if you are a manically depressed robot? No, don't bother to answer that. I'm 50,000 times more intelligent than you. And even I don't know the answer. It gives me a headache just trying to think down to your level. Trillian burst through the door from her cabin. My white mice have escaped, she said. An expression of deep worry and concern fell across either of Zaphod's faces. Nuts to your white mice, he said. Trillian glared an upset glare at him and disappeared again. It is possible that her remark would have commanded greater attention had it been generally realized that human beings were only the third most intelligent life form present on the planet Earth, instead of, as was generally thought by most independent observers, the second. Good afternoon, boys. The voice was oddly familiar, but oddly different. It had a matriarchal twang. It announced itself to the crew as they arrived at the airlock hatchway that would let them out on the planet's surface. They looked at each other in puzzlement. "It's the computer," explained Zaphod. "I discovered it had an emergency backup personality that I thought might work out better." "Now, this is going to be your first day out on a strange new planet," continued Eddie's new voice. "So, I want you all wrapped up snug and warm, and no playing with any naughty bug-eyed monsters." Zaphod tapped impatiently on the hatch. "I'm sorry," he said. "I think we might be better off with a slide rule." "Right," snapped the computer. "Who said that? Will you open up the exit hatch, please, computer?" said Zaphod, trying not to get angry. "Not until whoever said that owns up," urged the computer, stamping a few synapses closed. "Oh, God," muttered Ford, slumped against the bulkhead. He started to count to 10. He was desperately worried that one day sentient life forms would forget how to do this. Only by counting cold humans demonstrate their independence of computers. Said Eddie sternly. "Computer," began Zaphod. "I'm waiting," interrupted Eddie. "You can wait all day if necessary." "Computer," said Zaphod again, who had been trying to think of some subtle piece of reasoning to put the computer down with, and had decided not to bother competing with it on its own ground. "If you don't open that exit hatch, this moment I shall zap straight off to your major databanks and reprogram you with a very large axe gun." Lee, shocked, paused and considered this. Ford carried on, counting quietly. "This is about the most aggressive thing you can do to a computer. The equivalent of going up to a human being and saying, 'Blood, blood, blood, blood.'" "Finally," Eddie said quietly, "I can see this relationship is something we're all going to have to work at." And the hatchway opened. An icy wind ripped into them. They hugged themselves warmly and stepped down the ramp onto the barren dust of Magrathia. "It'll all end in tears now, I know it," shouted Eddie after them and closed the hatchway again. A few minutes later, he opened and closed the hatchway again in response to a command that caught him entirely by surprise. Chapter 20. 5 figures wandered slowly over the blighted land. Bits of it were dullish gray, bits of it dullish brown. The rest of it rather less interesting to look at. It was like a dried-out marsh, now barren of all vegetation and covered with a layer of dust about an inch thick. It was very cold. Zaphod was clearly rather depressed about it. He stalked off by himself and was soon lost to sight behind a cypress in the ground. The wind stung Arthur's eyes and ears, and the still thin air clasped his throat. However, the thing that was stung most was his mind. "It's fantastic," he said, and his own voice rattled his ears. Sound carried badly in this thin atmosphere. "Desolate hole, if you ask me," said Ford. "I could have had more fun in cat litter." He felt a mounting irritation of all the planets and all the star systems of all the galaxy, many wild and exotic, seething with life. Didn't he just have to turn up at a dump like this after 15 years of being a castaway? Not even a hot dog stand in evidence? He stooped down and picked up a cold clod of earth, but there was nothing underneath it worth crossing thousands of light years to look at. "No," insisted Arthur. "Don't you understand? This is the first time I've actually stood on the surface of another planet, a whole alien world. Pity it's such a dump, though." Trillian hugged herself, shivered and frowned. She could have sworn she saw a slight and unexpected movement out of the corner of her eye, but then when she glanced in that direction, all she could see was the ship. Still and silent, 100 yards or so behind them. She was relieved when a second or so later they caught sight of Zaphod standing on top of a ridge of ground and waving to them to come and join him. He seemed to be excited, but they couldn't clearly hear what he was saying because of the thinnish atmosphere and the wind. As they approached the ridge of higher ground, they became aware that it seemed to be circular, a crater about 150 yards wide. Round the outside of the crater, the sloping ground was spattered with black and red lumps. They stopped and looked at a piece. It was wet. It was rubbery. With horror, they suddenly realized that it was fresh whale meat. Yummy. At the top of the crater's lip, they met Zaphod. "Look," he said, pointing into the crater. In the center lay the exploded carcass of a lonely sperm whale that hadn't lived long enough to be disappointed with its lot. The silence was only disturbed by the slight involuntary spasms of Trillion's throat. "I suppose there's no point in trying to bury it," murmured Arthur, and then wished he hadn't. "Come," said Zaphod, and started back down into the crater. "What, down there?" said Trillion, with severe distaste. "Yeah," said Zaphod. "Come on, I've got something to show you." "We can see it," said Trillion. "Not that," said Zaphod. "Something else. Come on." They all hesitated. "Come on," insisted Zaphod. "I found a way in." "In?" said Arthur in horror. "Into the interior of the planet, an underground passage. The force of the whale's impact cracked it open, and that's where we have to go, where no man has trod these 5 million years, into the very depths of time itself." Marvin started his ironic humming again. Zaphod hit him, and he shut up. With little shudders of disgust, they all followed Zaphod down the incline into the crater, trying very hard to avoid looking at its unfortunate creator. "Life," said Marvin dolefully. "Loathe it or ignore it. You can't like it." The ground had been caved in where the whale had hit it, revealing a network of galleries and passages, now largely obstructed by collapsed rubble and entrails. Zaphod had made a start clearing a way into one of them, but Marvin was able to do it rather faster. Dank air wafted out of its dark recesses, and as Zaphod shone a flashlight into it, little was visible in the dusty gloom. "According to the legends," he said, "the McGrathians live most of their lives underground." "Why's that?" said Arthur. "Did the surface become too polluted or overpopulated?" "No, I don't think so," said Zaphod. "I think they just didn't like it very much." "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" said Trillion, peering nervously into the darkness. "We've been attacked once already, you know. Look, kid, I promise you that the live population of this planet is nil plus the 4 of us. So come on, let's get on in there. Hey, Earthman." "Arthur," said Arthur. "Yeah, could you just sort of keep this robot with you and guard the center of the passageway, okay?" "Guard," said Arthur. "What from? You just said there's no one here." "Yeah, well, just for safety, okay?" said Zaphod. "Whose, yours or mine?" "Good lad. Okay, here we go." Zaphod scrambled down into the passage, followed by Trillion and Ford. "Well, I hope you all have a really miserable time," complained Arthur. "Don't worry," Marvin assured him. "They will." In a few seconds, they had disappeared from view. Arthur stamped around in a huff and then decided that a whale's graveyard is not, on the whole, a good place to stamp around in. Marvin eyed him doubtfully for a moment and then turned himself off. Zaphod marched quickly down the passageway, nervous as hell, but trying to hide it by striding purposefully. He flung the beam around. The walls were covered in dark tiles and were cold to the touch, the air thick with decay. "There, what did I tell you?" he said. "An inhabited planet Grathia, and he strode on through the dirt and debris and littered the tile floors. Julian was reminded unavoidably of the London Underground, though it was less thoroughly squalid. At intervals along the walls, the tiles gave way to large mosaics, simple angular patterns in bright colors. Julian stopped and studied one of them, but could not interpret any sense in them. She called to Zaphod. "Hey, have you any idea what these strange symbols are?" "I think they're just strange symbols of some kind," said Zaphod, hardly glancing back. Julian shrugged and hurried after him. From time to time, a doorway led either to the left or right, into smallest chambers, which Ford discovered to be full of derelict computer equipment. He dragged Zaphod into one of them to have a look. Julian followed. "Look," said Ford. "You reckon this is McGrathia?" "Yeah," said Zaphod. "And you heard the voice, right? Okay, so I've bought the fact that it's McGrathia for the moment. What you have so far said nothing about is how in the galaxy you found it. You didn't just look it up in the Star Atlas, that's for sure. Research, government archives, detective work, few lucky guesses, easy. And then you stole the heart of gold to come look for it with?" "I stole it to look for a lot of things." "A lot of things?" said Ford in surprise. "Like what?" "I don't know." "What?" "I don't know what I'm looking for." "Why not?" Because I think it might be because if I knew, I wouldn't be able to look for them." "What, are you crazy?" "It's a possibility I haven't ruled out yet," said Zaphod quietly. "I only know as much about myself as my mind can work out under its current conditions, and its current conditions are not good." For a long time nobody said anything as Ford gazed at Zaphod with a mind suddenly full of worry. "Listen, old friend, if you want to," started Ford, eventually. "No, wait, I'll tell you something," said Zaphod. "I free will a lot. I get an idea to do something and hey, why not? I do it. I reckon I'll become president of the galaxy, and it just happens. It's easy. I decide to steal the ship, I decide to look for McGrathia, and it all just happens. I work out how it can best be done, right? But it always works out. It's like having a galactic credit card, which keeps on working, though you never send off any checks. And then whenever I stop and think, why did I want to do something? How did I work out how to do it? I get a very strong desire just to stop thinking about it. Like I have now. It's a big effort to talk about it." Zaphod paused for a while. For a while, there was silence. Then he frowned and said, "Last night, I was worrying about this again. About the fact that part of my mind just didn't seem to work properly. Then it occurred to me that the way it seemed was that someone else was using my mind to have good ideas with, without telling me about it. I put the two ideas together and decided that maybe that somebody had locked off part of my mind for that purpose, which was why I couldn't use it. I wondered if there was a way I could check. I went to the ship's medical bay and plugged myself into the encephalographic screen. I went through every major screening test on both my heads. All the tests I had to go through under government medical officers before my nomination for presidency could be properly ratified. They showed up nothing. Nothing unexpected, at least. They showed that I was clever, imaginative, irresponsible, untrustworthy, extrovert, nothing you couldn't have guessed, and no other anomalies, so I started inventing further tests, completely at random. Nothing. Then I tried superimposing the result from one head on top of the result from the other head. Still nothing. Finally I got silly because I'd given it up as nothing more than an attack of paranoia. Last thing I did before I packed it in was take the superimposed picture and look at it through a green filter. You remember, I was always superstitious about the color green when I was a kid. I always wanted to be a pilot, on one of the trading scouts. Ford nodded. And there it was, said Zaphod, clear as day. A whole section in the middle of both brains that related only to each other, not to anything else around them. Some bastard had cauterized all the synapses and electronically traumatized those 2 lumps of cerebellum. Ford stared at him aghast. Trillian had turned white. Somebody did that to you? Whispered Ford. Yeah. But have you any idea who or why? Why, I can only guess, but I do know who the bastard was. You know? How do you know? Because they left their initials burned into the cauterized synapses. They left them there for me to see. Ford stared at him in horror and felt his skin begin to crawl. Initials burned into your brain? Yeah. Well, what were they for God's sake? Zaphod looked at him in silence again for a moment, then he looked away. DB, he said quietly. At that moment, a steel shutter slammed down behind them, and gas started to pour into the chamber. Tell you about it later, choked Zaphod, as all 3 passed out. Dang. That was his initials. Zaphod, blah, 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 whatever his name is. Anywho's, on that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our first music break. On this break, we have Mr. Jeff Hilliard with his group. Well, I guess it's just Jeff Hilliard. He doesn't really have a band name. They're from Los Angeles, California. And they'll be singing Consensual Sex Man, Finger Bang Your Day, Multitude, Cockpit Hills, and Silicon Wave You Day. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? Let me take you far away from all this huff and puff. There will be
go. Just get in the van.
When your life is a never-ending train wreck, and you feel like you're drowning in a sea of regret, with a bit of oppression pressing down on your neck, it hurts so bad. When your overwhelming hatred kills your heart's desire, and reality starts looking like a dumpster fire, you start bitching to me, but you're preaching to the choir. You don't need to be so mad. 'Cause sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're sure there's no reason to try. When the whole world goes completely insane, open your heart, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah, I'll finger bang my day. That's right. You gotta make the choice to give it all you've got, and make your day long with pleasure, really make it hot. Because your day deserves a lover that pulls out the stops. Come on, it's not so hard. 'Cause sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're sure there's no reason to try. When the whole world blows up in our face, what else could we do but stand up and sing? I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah, finger bang my day.
Hey, what are we really doing? We can't live in a world that has this much hate. We have to get honest with ourselves. We have to take stock in what our part is in all of this madness. We have to let go, and we focus on giving love, setting that intention. And each and every single one of us gets up every day with the intention to give love. And we do it. We go out there and we give love every single day. Each one of us gets out there and makes love to our day, giving our day a multiple orgasm. The whole world will be orgasmic for the rest of eternity.
Sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're sure there's no reason to try. When the whole world is fucking insane, we open our hearts, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Finger bang my day. Finger bang my day. Let's open our hearts, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah. Finger bang my day.
I got Marlon moves, got that molar too. You think it's wrong? Back of the hand too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a molar too. I can do no wrong. Back of the head long, never gonna cut it.
All these hookers sweet on me. Look at them chasing me, showing me that ass. And I bang up the snatch. I do this shit for free. Go down your mom, count 3. She's taking selfies with the mullet like it's history. I can't outmaneuver you with that pussy, dude. You sit like Buddha waiting on it to come to you. My lines are straight to the point. She shows me gratitude. So what's your latitude? Let's adjust your attitude. Head with a alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All up in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini.
I got molar moves, I got that molar too. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that.
Head with a alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All up in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini.
Check these molar moves. You need a molar too. I can do no wrong.
butt of a butter knife cutting up panini. So climb back in your kangaroo pouch like a rolling genie.
These moves are hot, these locks I got. This power cannot be disputed and it can't be bought.
So you can find me in the studio with all these thoughts. You wanna buy my style, but you can't be what you're not, neighbor.
I got more than moves, I got that molar too. You think it's wrong, back of the head too long, fuck that. Check these molar moves, you need a molar too. I can do no wrong, back of the head long, you're gonna cut it. Got that motherfucking ballin'. You wanna touch it?
Yeah. Next time you come around here with your bitch ass, just remember how my mullet makes your hose pussy drip, drip, drip.
I got molar moves, I got that molar too. You think it's wrong, back of the head too long, fuck that. Check these molar moves, you need a molar too. I can do no wrong, never gonna cut it. I got molar moves, I got that molar too. You think it's wrong, back of the head too long, fuck that. Check these molar moves, you need a molar too. I can do no wrong, never gonna cut it. Never gonna cut it. Never gonna cut it.
Drip, drip,
Molar moves,
drip, drip, drip.
molar moves. Never gonna cut it.
desperate and pathetic. Nothing but a coward. You're a fool with nothing to offer. No one will ever believe you. They see you for what you are. You're just a fraud, a shell of a person. And now the power of the spirit of penetrate the demon. They love you. They turn you into the doctor of the hate. I am the
I just got a package, I can't wait to get home. I spent all day tracking the shipment on my phone, all that she was lacking. I ordered custom, I can't wait to get some. Take it to the bedroom, bitch is always nagging. Now I got the air, I send this bitch is packing, going my way. I have a new attraction, don't care what you say, it's better in every way. Now baby it's time to play, we're gonna make us a tape and show everyone the way. Cause I'm going cause I'm going my way, riding up Silicon Way. I see on the game with my new real dog, I'm gonna play. Just second way to my Silicon Way. She is here to stay. She's my new real dog, and it's time to play.
Dreams.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Fais-moi l'amour.
Je suis amoureux.
Je pense toujours à
Enchanté,
tu es charmant.
ma chérie. Mon
Tu es
futur
charmant.
dynastie.
Tu
Ils étaient le nipple.
es chaud. Fais-moi
Like living on a super yacht, making love to a robot. It's like owning a football team, but having sex with a robot. It's like winning an Oscar and Emmy or Grammy when you're fucking a robot. It's like saving a family with a newborn from a fire, but you're fucking a robot. I'm going my way, riding up Silicon Way. I see on the game with my new real dog, I'm gonna play. Just second way to my Silicon Way. She is here to stay. She's my new real dog, and it's time to play.
Hello. Alright. Gotta change this. My audio is not working. Hello? Alright, we're back. Thanks so much for joining me this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I was trying to figure out the sound for the music on break there, but it's hard to tell when it's live what exactly is going on. Okay, I think I got the music going good as far as background music. I don't know. Let me know what you're hearing, because over here, I don't know, when I check out what the live feed is on my phone or whatever, it just sounds like it's all kind of jagged and cut up. Chapter 21. On the surface of Magrathia, Arthur wandered about mobily and moodily. Ford had thoughtfully left him his copy of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to while away the time with. He pushed a few buttons at random. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a very unevenly edited book and contains many passages that simply seemed to its editor like a good idea at the time. One of these, the one that Arthur now came across, supposedly relates the experiences of one Vit Vujagig, a quite young student at the University of Maximilian, who pursued a brilliant academic career studying ancient philology, transformational ethics, and the wave of harmonic theory of historical perception. And then, after a night of drinking, pan-galactic gargle blasters with Zavad Beeblebrox, became increasingly obsessed with the problem of what had happened to all the ballpoints he'd bought over the past few years. There followed a long period of painstaking research, during which he visited all the major centers of ballpoint laws throughout the galaxy, and eventually came up with a quaint little theory which quite caught the public imagination at the time. Somewhere in the cosmos, he said, along with all the planets inhabited by humanoids, reptilioids, fishoids, walking treeoids, and superintelligent shades of color, blue, there are also a planet entirely given over to ballpoint life forms. And it was to this planet the unattended ballpoints would make their way, slipping away quietly through wormholes in space, to a world where they knew they could enjoy a uniquely ballpointed lifestyle, responding to highly ballpoint-oriented stimuli, and generally leading the ballpoint equivalent of the good life. And as theories go, this was all very fine and pleasant until Vit Vujagig suddenly claimed to have found this planet, and to have worked there for a while driving a limousine for a family of cheap green retractables. Whereupon he was taken away, locked up, wrote a book, and was finally sent into tax exile. This is the usual fate reserved for those who are determined to make fools of themselves in public. When one day, an expedition was sent to the spatial coordinates that Vujagig had claimed for his planet, they discovered only a small asteroid inhabited by a solitary old man who claimed repeatedly that nothing was true, though he was later discovered to be lying. There did, however, remain the question of both the mysterious 60,000 Altarian dollars paid yearly into his Ratisvogen bank account, and of course, Zaphod Beeblebrox's highly profitable second-hand ballpoint business. Arthur read this and put the book down. The robot still sat there, completely inert. Arthur got up and walked to the top of the crater. He walked around the crater. He watched two suns set magnificently over Magrathia. He went back down into the crater. He woke the robot up, because even a maniacally depressed robot is better to talk to than nobody. "Night's falling," he said. "Look, robot, the stars are coming out." From the heart of a dark nebula, it is possible to see very few stars, and only very faintly, but they were there to be seen. The robot obediently looked at them, then looked back. "I know," he said. "Wretched, isn't it?" But the sun set, I've never seen anything like it in my wildest dreams. The two suns. It was like mountains of fire blowing into space. I've seen it, said Marvin. It's rubbish. We only ever had the one sun at home, preserved Arthur. I came from a planet called Earth, you know. I know, said Marvin. You keep going on about it. It sounds awful. Ah, no. It was a beautiful place. Did it have oceans? Oh, yes, said Arthur with a sigh. Great, wild, wide, rolling blue oceans. Can't bear oceans, said Marvin. Tell me, inquired Arthur. Do you get on well with other robots? Hate them, said Marvin. Where are you going? Arthur couldn't bear anymore. He had got up again. I think I'll just take another walk, he said. Don't blame you, said Marvin, and counted 597 billion sheep before falling asleep again a second later. That's pretty fast counting. Arthur slapped his arms about himself to try and get his circulation a little more enthusiastic about its job. He trudged back up the wall of the crater. Because the atmosphere was so thin and because there was no moon, nightfall was very rapid, and it was by now very dark. Because of this, Arthur practically walked in to the old man before he noticed him. Chapter 22. Let me just check my sound really quick. Make sure all this stuff is going good. How's the sound? Before we go on to the next chapter. That one looks good. Over here and over here. Dang, it's really loud up here on the speaker, but it's not going red, so that's okay. This app that I used for eTalk is called But. And my husband's like, what is this? I'm like, that's an app I use for eTalk. It's called But. The But. Which is through Airtime Pro. But anyways, Chapter 22. He was standing with his back to Arthur, watching the very last glimmers of light sink into blackness behind the horizon. He was tallish, elderly, and dressed in a single long gray robe. When he turned, his face was thin and distinguished, careworn but not unkind. The sort of face you would happily bank with, but he didn't turn yet, not even to react to Arthur's yelp of surprise. Eventually, the last rays of the sun vanished completely, and he turned his face. His face was still illuminated from somewhere, and then Arthur looked for the source of the light. He saw that a few yards away stood a small craft of some kind. A small hovercraft, Arthur guessed. It shed a dim pool of light around it. The man looked at Arthur, sadly it seemed. "You'd choose a cold night to visit our dead planet," he said. Who are you?" stammered Arthur. The man looked away. Again a look of sadness seemed to cross his face. "My name is not important," he said. He seemed to have something on his mind. Conversation was clearly something he felt he didn't have a brush at. Arthur felt awkward. Sorry. I'm gonna turn this camera off really quick because I gotta wipe my nose and you guys don't want to see this. He startled me," he said lamely. The man looked around to him again and slightly raised his eyebrows. He said. "I said you startled me. Do not be alarmed. I will not harm you." Arthur frowned at him. "But you shot at us. There were missiles," he said. The man gazed into the pit of the crater. The slight glow from Marvin's eyes cast very faint red shadows on the huge carcass of the whale. I felt bad for that whale. Like, hearing his thoughts and stuff as he fell from the sky. And he just seemed like such a happy little sperm whale. The man chuckled slightly. "Our automatic system," he said, and gave a small sigh. ancient computers ranged in the bowels of the planet tick away the dark millennia, and the ages hang heavy on their dusty databanks. I think they take the occasional pot shot to relieve the monotony. He looked gravely at Arthur and said, I'm a great fan of science, you know. Oh, really? Said Arthur. Well, he's beginning to find the man's curious, kindly manner disconcerting. Oh, yes, said the old man, and simply stopped talking again. Ah, said Arthur. He had an odd feeling of being like a man in the act of adultery, who is surprised when the woman's husband wanders into the room, changes his trousers, passes a few idle remarks about the weather, and leaves again. You seem ill at ease, said the old man, with polite concern. No, well, yes. Actually, you see, we weren't really expecting to find anybody about, in fact. I sort of gathered that you were all dead or something. Dead? Said the old man. Good gracious me, no. We have but slept. Slept? Said Arthur. Yes, through the economic recession, you see, said the old man, apparently unconcerned about whether Arthur understood a word he was talking about or not. Arthur had to prompt again. Economic recession? Well, you see, 5 million years ago, the galactic economy collapsed, and seeing that the custom-built planets are something of a luxury commodity, you see, he paused and looked at Arthur. You know, we built planets, do you? He asked solemnly. Well, yes, he said. I sort of gathered. Fascinating trade, said the old man, and a wistful look came into his eyes. Doing the coastlines was always my favorite. Used to have endless fun doing the little bits of forts. So anyway, he said, trying to find his thread again. A recession came and we decided it would save a lot of bother if we just slept through it, so we programmed the computers to revive us when it was all over. The man stifled a very slight yawn and continued. The computers were index-linked to the galactic stock market prices, you see, so that we'd all be revived when everybody else had rebuilt the economy enough to afford our rather expensive services. Arthur, a regular Guardian reader, was deeply shocked at this. That's a pretty unpleasant way to behave, isn't it? Is it? Asked the old man mildly. I'm sorry, I'm a bit out of touch. He pointed down into the crater. Is that robot yours? He said. No, came a thin metallic voice from the crater. I'm mine. Oh goodness. I actually like this robot. It's kind of funny. It's like Eeyore, but with a little bit of attitude. If you'd call it a robot, muttered Arthur, it's more sort of an electronic choking machine. Bring it, said the old man. Arthur was quite surprised to hear a note of decision suddenly present in the man's voice. He called to Marvin, who crawled up the slope, making a big show of being lame, which he wasn't. On second thoughts, said the old man, leave it here. You must come with me. Great things are afoot. He turned towards his craft, which, though no apparent signal had been given, now drifted quietly toward them through the dark. Arthur looked down at Marvin, who now made an equally big show of turning round laboriously and trudging off down into the crater again, muttering sour nothings to himself. Come, called the old man. Come now, or you will be late. Late? Said Arthur. What for? What is your name, human? Dent. Arthur Dent, said Arthur. Late as in late did Arthur Dent? Said the old man sternly. It's a sort of threat, you see. Another wistful look came into his tired old eyes. I've never seen or been very good at them myself, but I'm told they can be very effective. Arthur just blinked at him. What an extraordinary person, he muttered to himself. I beg your pardon, said the old man. Oh, nothing. I'm sorry, said Arthur in embarrassment. All right, where do we go? In my air car, said the old man, motioning Arthur to get into the craft, which had settled silently next to them. We're going deep into the bowels of the planet, where even now our race is being revived from its 5 million years slumber. McGrathia awakes. Arthur shivered involuntarily as he seated himself next to the old man. The strangeness of it, the silent bobbing movement of the craft as it soared into the night sky, quite unsettled him. He looked at the old man, his face illuminated by the dull glow of tiny lights in the instrument panel. Excuse me, he said to him. What is your name, by way? My name? Said the old man, and the same distant sadness came into his face again, but he paused. My name, he said, is Slarty Bartfast. Arthur practically choked. I beg your pardon, he sputtered. Slarty Bartfast, repeated the old man quietly. Slarty Bartfast? The old man looked at him gravely. I said it wasn't important, he said. The air car sailed through the night. Chapter 23. It is an important and popular fact that things aren't always what they seem. For instance, on the planet Earth, man had always assumed that he was more intelligent than dolphins because he hadn't achieved much. The Will, New York, wars, and so on, while all the dolphins had never done as muck about in the water having a good time. Oh my gosh, if you know anything about dolphins, you know they do a lot more than that. Those guys are, even though I love them, and I've loved them for so long, I've learned some very ugly and perverse things about them. That really scares me. Anyways, while all the dolphins had ever done was muck around in the water having a good time, but conversely, the dolphins had always believed that they were far more intelligent than man, for precisely the same reasons. Curiously enough, the dolphins had long known of impending destruction of the planet Earth and had made many attempts to alert mankind to the danger, but most of their communications were misinterpreted as amusing attempts to punch footballs or whistle for tidbits, so they eventually gave up and left the Earth by their own means shortly before the Vogons arrived. The last ever dolphin message was misinterpreted as a surprisingly sophisticated attempt to do a double backward somersault through a hoop whilst the Star-Spangled Banner played. But in fact the message was this: so long and thanks for all the fish. In fact, there was only one species on the planet more intelligent than dolphins, and they spent a lot of their time in behavioral research laboratories, running around inside wheels and conducting frighteningly elegant and subtle experiments on man. The fact that once again man completely misinterpreted this relationship was entirely according to these creatures' plans. I'm thinking these maybe nieces? Chapter 24. Silently, the air car coasted through the cold darkness. A single soft glow of light that was utterly alone in the deep Magrathian night. It sped swiftly. Arthur's companion seemed sunk into its own thoughts, and when Arthur tried on a couple of occasions to engage him in conversation again, he would simply reply by asking if he was comfortable enough, and then left it at that. Arthur tried to gauge the speed at which they were traveling, but the blackness outside was absolute, and he was denied any reference points. The sense of motion was so soft and slight he could almost believe they were hardly moving at all. Then a tiny glow of light appeared in the far distance, and within seconds had grown so much in size that Arthur realized it was traveling toward them at a colossal speed, and he tried to make out what sort of craft it might be. He peered at it, but was unable to discern any clear shape, and suddenly gasped in alarm as the air car dipped sharply and headed downward in what seemed certain to be a collision course. Their relative velocity seemed unbelievable, and Arthur had hardly time to draw breath before it was all over. The next thing he was aware of was an insane silver blur that seemed to surround him. He twisted his head sharply. "Hey, Mort, how's it going? Good to see ya." "I'm reading one of our favorite books." "Let me know if the sound's okay, because sound has been weird lately." Anyways. He twisted his head sharply round, and the small black point dwindled rapidly into the distance behind them, and it took him several seconds to realize what had happened. They had plunged into a tunnel in the ground. The colossal speed had been their own, relative to the glow of light, which was stationary, a stationary hole in the ground, the mouth of the tunnel. The insane blur of silver was circular, a circular wall of tunnel down which they were shooting, apparently at several hundred miles per hour. "All thanks for the flowers. That's so sweet." He closed his eyes in terror. After a length of time, which he made no attempt to judge, he sensed a slight subsidence in their speed, and some while later became aware that they were gradually gliding to a gentle halt. He opened his eyes again. They were still in the silver tunnel, threading and weaving their way through what appeared to be a crisscross square of converging tunnels. When they finally stopped, it was in a small chamber of curved steel. Several tunnels also had their termini here, and at the farther end of the chamber, Arthur could see a large circle of dim, irritating light. It was irritating because it played tricks with his eyes. It was impossible to focus on it properly or tell how near or far it was. Arthur guessed, quite wrongly, that it might be ultraviolet. Stardy barked fast, turned, and regarded Arthur with his solemn old eyes. "Earthman," he said, "we are now deep in the heart of Magrathia." "How did you know I was an Earthman?" demanded Arthur. "These things will become clear to you," said the old man gently. "At least," he added, with slight doubt in his voice, "clearer than they are at the moment." He continued, "I should warn you that the chamber we are about to pass into does not literally exist within our planet. It is a little too large. We are about to pass through a gateway to a vast tract of hyperspace. It may disturb you." Arthur made nervous noises. He started to bark fast, touched a button, and added, not entirely reassuringly, "It scares the willies out of me. Hold tight." The car shot forward, straight into the circle of light, and suddenly Arthur had a fairly clear idea of what infinity looked like. It wasn't infinity, in fact. Infinity itself looks flat and uninteresting. Looking up into the sky is looking into infinity. Distance is incomprehensible, and therefore meaningless. The chamber into which the air car emerged was anything but infinite. It was just very, very, very big, so big that it gave the impression of infinity far better than infinity itself. Arthur's senses bobbed and spun as, traveling at the immense speed he knew the air car attained, they climbed slowly through the open air, leaving the gateway through which they had passed an invisible pinprick in the shimmering wall behind them. The wall. The wall defied imagination, seduced it, and defeated it. The wall was so paralyzingly vast and sheer that its top, bottom, and sides passed away beyond the reach of sight. The mere shock of vertigo could kill a man. The wall appeared perfectly flat, it would take the finest laser measuring equipment to detect. Oh no. Sorry guys, I think I'm gonna have to meet this group again. I hate that I miss it, but I'm trying to do a show here. And oh my gosh, there it goes again. Sorry guys, just give me un momento por favor, and I shall mute this. I had to mute it, then unmute it, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this really quick. Oh, there it is. Mute forward. Let's take an hour. That'll work. Alrighty then. Yeah, I love these guys, but damn. During my show, they always try to come in, and then when I try to get in after my show, nobody's there. It is. At the same time. I get it. Alright. The wall appeared perfectly flat. It would take the finest laser measuring equipment to detect that as it climbed apparently to infinity, as it dropped dizzily away, as it planed out to either side, it also curved. It met itself again, 13 light seconds away. In other words, the wall formed the inside of a hollow sphere, a sphere over 3 million miles across and flooded with unimaginable light. "Welcome," said Slaughter Bartfast, as the tiny speck that was the air car, traveling now at 3 times the speed of sound, crept imperceptibly forward into the mind-boggling space. "Welcome," he said, "to our factory floor." Arthur stared at him in a kind of wonderful horror. Ranged away before them a distance he could neither judge nor even guess at, were a series of curious suspensions, delicate traceries of metal and light, hung about shadowy spherical shapes that hung in space. "This," said Slaughter Bartfast, "is where we make most of our planets, you see." "You mean," said Arthur, trying to form the words, "you mean you're starting it all up again now?" No, good heavens, no," exclaimed the old man. "No, the galaxy isn't nearly rich enough to support us yet. No, we've been awakened to perform just one extraordinary commission for very special clients from another dimension. It may interest you. They're in the distance in front of us." Arthur followed the old man's finger until he was able to pick out the floating structure he was pointing out. It was indeed the only one of many structures that betrayed any sign of activity about it, though this was more subliminal of an impression than anything or anyone could put one's finger on. At that moment, however, a flash of light arced through the structure and revealed a stark relief that the patterns were forming on the dark sphere within. Patterns that Arthur knew, rough, blobby shapes that were as familiar to him as the shapes of words, part of the furniture of his mind. For a few seconds he sat in stunned silence as the images rushed around his mind and tried to find somewhere to settle down and make sense. I'm sorry, I have to wear earbuds when I sleep and stuff, so I feel like phantom earbuds in my ears. Thanks, Protestus. Part of his brain told him that he knew perfectly well what he was looking at, and what the shapes represented, while another quite sensibly refused to countenance the idea in abdication. Abdicated responsibility for any further thinking in that direction. The flash came again, and this time there could be no doubt. "The Earth?" whispered Arthur. "Well, the Earth, Mark II, in fact," said Slaughter Bartfast cheerfully. "We're making a copy from our original blueprints." There was a pause. "Are you trying to tell me," said Arthur slowly and with control, "that you originally made the Earth?" "Oh "Oh yes," said Slutty Bartfast. "Did you ever go to a place, I think it was called Norway?" "No," said Arthur, "no, I didn't." "Pity," said Slutty Bartfast. "That was one of mine. Won an award, you know. Lovely crinkly edges. I was most upset to hear of its destruction." "You were upset?" "Yes, 5 minutes later, and it wouldn't have mattered so much. It was quite shocking. Quite a shocking cock-up." "Huh," said Arthur. "The mice were furious." "The mice were furious?" "Oh, yes," said the old man mildly. "Yes, well, so I expect we're the dogs and cats and duck-billed platypus, but they hadn't paid for it, you see, had they?" "Look," said Arthur, "would it save you a lot of time if I just gave up and went mad now?" For a while the air car flew on in awkward silence. Then the old man tried patiently to explain. Let me just make sure I'm at the bottom of chat here, because I don't want to miss a thing. I don't want to miss a thing. Not this game. "Mice?" he said. "Indeed, Earthman. Look, sorry, we're talking about the little white furry things with the cheese fixation and women standing on tables screaming in early 66 sitcoms." Flirty Bartfast coughed politely. "Earthman," he said, "it is sometimes hard to follow your mode of speech. Remember, I have been asleep inside this planet of Megrathia for 5 million years, and know little of these early 66 sitcoms of which you speak. These creatures you call mice, you see, they are not quite as they appear. They are merely the protrusion into our dimension of vastly hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings. The whole business of these cheese and squeaking is just a front." The old man paused with a sympathetic frown and continued. "They've been experimenting on you, I'm afraid." Arthur thought about this for a second, and then his face cleared. "Ah, no," he said. "I see the source of misunderstanding now. No, look. You see, what happened was that we used to do experiments on them. They were often used in behavioral research, Pavlov and all that sort of stuff. So what happened was that the mice, we set all sorts of tests in learning to ring bells, run around mazes, and things so that the whole nature of the learning process could be examined. From our observations of their behavior, we were able to learn all sorts of things about our own." Arthur's voice trailed off. "Such subtlety," says Ladder Bartfest. "One has to admire it." "What?" said Arthur. "How better to disguise their real natures, and how better to guide your thinking. Suddenly running down a maze the wrong way, eating the wrong bit of cheese unexpectedly, dropping dead of myxomatosis. If it's finely calculated, the cumulative effect is enormous." He paused for effect. "You see, Earthman, they really are particularly clever, hyper-intelligent, pan-dimensional beings. Your planet and people have formed the matrix of an organic computer running a 10-million-year research program. Let me tell you the whole story. Take a little time." "Time?" said Arthur. "It's not currently one of my problems." "99 problems ain't a bitch ain't one." Just kidding. Man, let's get into this next chapter. I know we have to go to break soon, so I'll go a little bit further. Chapter 25. We're doing pretty good. We were halfway. This is how much we have left now. We're getting there. There are, of course, many problems connected with life, of which some of the most popular are: why are people born? Why do they die? They want to spend so much of the intervening time wearing digital watches. Many millions of years ago, a race of hyper-intelligent and dimensional beings whose physical manifestation and their own nine-dimensional universe was not dissimilar to our own. Got so fed up with the constant bickering about the meaning of life, which used to interrupt their favorite pastime of Rocky and Ultra Cricket, a curious game which involved suddenly hitting people for no readily apparent reason and then running away. I think I've seen that on, is it called Twitch or Kick? I think it's Kick, yeah. That's where that happens. Not good. They decided to sit down and solve their problems once and for all. And to this end, they built themselves a stupendous supercomputer, which was so amazingly intelligent that even before its databanks had been connected up, it had started from, I think therefore I am, and got as far as deducing the existence of rice pudding and income tax before anyone managed to turn it off. It was the size of a small city. Its main console was installed in a specially designed executive office, mounted on an enormous executive desk of finest ultra mahogany topped with rich ultra red leather. Oh my. Dark carpeting was directly sumptuous, exotic, pot plants and tastefully engraved prints of the principal computer. Programmers and their families were deployed liberally about the room, and stately windows looked out upon a tree-lined public square. On the day of the great on-turning, two soberly dressed programmers with briefcases arrived and were shown discreetly into the office. They were aware that at this day they would represent their entire race in its greatest moments, but they conducted themselves calmly and quietly as they seated themselves deferentially before the desk, opened their briefcases, and took out their leather-bound notebooks. Their names were Munkwil and Fook. Fook and Munkwil. For a few moments, they sat in respectful silence. Then, after exchanging quite a few glances with Fook, Munkwil leaned forward and touched a small black panel. The subtlest of hums indicated that the massive computer was now in total active mode. After a pause, it spoke to them in a voice rich, resonant, and deep. It said, "What is this great task for which I, Deep Thought, the second greatest computer in the universe of time and space, have been called into existence?" Munkwil and Fook glanced and looked at each other in surprise. "Your task, O computer," began Fook. "No, wait a minute, this isn't right," said Munkwil, worried. "We distinctly designed this computer to be the greatest one ever, and we're not making do with second best." "Deep Thought," he addressed the computer, "are you not, as we designed you to be, the greatest, most powerful computer in all time?" "I describe myself as the second greatest," intoned Deep Thought, "and such I am." Another word look passed between the two programmers. Munkwil cleared his throat. "There must be some mistake," he said. "Are you not a greater computer than the Milliard Gargantubrain at Megalodon or Megalon, which can count all the atoms in a star in a millisecond?" "The Milliard Gargantubrain?" said Deep Thought with unconcealed contempt. "A mere abacus. Mention it not." "And are you not," said Fook, leaning anxiously forward, "a greater analyst than the Googleplex star thinker in the seventh galaxy of light and ingenuity, which can calculate the trajectory of every single dust particle throughout a 5-week Dagobah data and sand blizzard?" "A 5-week sand blizzard," said Deep Thought haughtily. "You ask this of me, who have contemplated the very vectors of the atoms and the Big Bang itself? Bless me not with this pocket calculator stuff." The two programmers sat in uncomfortable silence for a moment. Then Munkwil leaned forward again. "But are you not," he said, "a more fiendish Rasputin, then the great hyperlogic omnicognate neutron wrangler Ciceronicus 12, the magic and indefatigable. The great hyperbolic omnicognate neutron wrangler, said Deepthought, thoroughly rolling the R's, took all four legs off an Arcturian mega donkey, but only I could persuade it to go for a walk afterward. Dang it! Well, I hate to do it, boys and girls, and I dropped my marker, but yeah, I want to keep reading, but we've got to go to our second break. After this break, we're going to watch a creepy video together, but we've made it pretty far. We're almost there at the end. I think I need to check out the next book. But yeah, I'm pretty sure next Sunday we can get through this. I'm super excited. I've really enjoyed this book. Thanks Art and Jay and Adrian for hanging out with me. So on this break, we have Mr. Jeff Hilliard from Los Angeles, California. And he's going to be singing Abandon, which is, to me, like an awesome 80s mixed with 90s ballad. But yeah, one of my favorites. And then we have Miss Mia Savage with her band, Antidote for Savages, her band being her, singing The Bottom Line, Your Skeleton, and The Miriam Crypto. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break. Again, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it.
I gave you my
right now between fear and love.
I am muted. On the banana. Damn it, banana. Anyways, that is impossible. If you have not subscribed, please do. Thank you so much, Adrian, for letting me know about the shenanigans going on here. But let's get to it. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? This guy does such a good job. If you haven't subscribed, please go here. That is impossible. And subscribe. See? Right here? I'm subscribed. You guys should too. Let's go.
Now, there are many beautiful places to visit while on vacation, but there's one that's been getting a lot of attention lately, and in a very strange way. For the past couple of years, the Appalachian mountain range has been trending on social media for its many mysteries, such as tales of skinwalkers.
Made it to the Appalachian Mountains. So far, no skinwalkers.
That
The
sounds like a
Mothman,
Bigfoot.
the Rake, the Dogman, Bigfoot, and the list goes on.
What's he doing?
But after researching a bit, I found out that there's much more to it, and it's actually freaky. From hikers that have mysteriously vanished, never to be seen again,
I have one floating above the mountain.
This is crazy.
They're rising in the
unexplained sightings of luminous objects, and paranormal activity. This place is filled with strange tales of the unknown.
Dude, they're chasing that! Lily, they're chasing that!
And because of that, it's been trending quite a lot on social media. And today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the creepiest and most unexplained videos caught in the Appalachian Mountains.
I'm being followed by something.
But before we go on, let me explain why this mountain range is shrouded in mystery. The Appalachian Mountains are one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world, with its core being formed about 1.2 billion years ago, when all of the continents were still one. They stretch from Newfoundland, Canada, to central Alabama in the US, showcasing breathtaking beauty and incredible biodiversity. But because this place is really old, older than the dinosaurs, older than Saturn's rings and the ozone layer, many people believe that the region is somewhat haunted.
Born and raised in the Appalachian Mountains, I've experienced a lot of unexplainable things, and I'm not the only one.
Since first inhabiting the land, the Cherokee natives talk about strange beings that roam these mountains, like the Moon-Eyed People, a race of small, pale-skinned beings who lived in the area before the...
Please don't do this. Seriously, let's not.
Cherokees.
The Cherokees tell us that when they first arrived in the Appalachian area, they found it inhabited by a certain moon-eyed type people who couldn't see it.
And Sparefinger, a shape-shifting humanoid that preys on unsuspecting victims.
So if you don't know about this, Vinny Vineyard and... Oh my gosh, can't believe I am drawing a blank, but these guys do wrestling with ghosts. They also did a movie that was about Spearfinger. It's pretty good. Vinny actually got seduced off the side of a cliff, but anyways.
How is that? Really?
Can you see that?
This, for instance, is a video that was recorded in the Great Smoky Mountains in 2021. At the time, Renana's 007, the person who was recording the video, was working the night shift as a security guard in the Great Smoky Mountains. When all of a sudden this happens.
Yeah.
Really?
That is supernatural. That's so crazy.
It looks like a featureless humanoid figure can be seen walking towards the car.
Shadow.
Needless to say, Renana 007 and her buddy got the heck out of there as fast as possible.
Renana.
Now, I'm not exactly sure what it is that they saw that night. What I do know, however, is that encounters like this one are quite common in the Appalachian Mountains. And while researching the topic, I came across one of the most mysterious videos that was originally posted by Hellbent Holler YouTube channel, a channel that focuses on investigating strange phenomena and cryptids.
Let's go in there.
What is that?
We've got eyes in the woods.
In the winter of 2023, Jessie and her team traveled.
That's like when I heard, the water bottle secure system out here last night, and then I opened the door and peeked out, and there was glowing eyes looking at me. It was Hercules. Scared me.
To North Carolina to investigate the centuries-old phenomenon known as the Brown Mountain Lights.
South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee. All over the Appalachians.
Those are city lights.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What is that?
Oh, wow. This is great. This is perfect for this. I want to go down to the platform.
I'm getting that pro now, man.
Oh, my God. We've got one.
Wow.
We've got a Brown Mountain Light.
It was late at night when
still,
Jessie and her
it's not
team
even
finally
moving.
captured what looked like some sort of luminous object in the woods. They were live streaming the event to their YouTube channel, so they were very excited when finally something showed up. But they had absolutely no idea what was about to happen. Check
Look
this
at
out.
that. How cool is that?
Could you imagine if it just flew at them?
We've got one.
Yep.
Holy moly.
I'm gonna live stream you here. Give me the headlamp and your phone, and we'll live stream you, and you can.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I've got another one.
Look how cute she
Oh, my
is.
God. Oh, my God.
Holy shnikes. Oh, yeah.
This one's huge.
All right, we're live. Go ahead and say what we're doing.
Okay, so guys, I just wanted to tell you guys we are live from looking at the Brown Mountain Lights. We took a little trip today and we are up here at an overlook. We are looking over the Brown Mountain Ridge and Brown Mountain, and I'm using the Psionics, and right now I am actually catching the Brown Mountain Lights on the Psionics.
Okay.
Wow.
Recording.
Oh, yeah, look
I
at
got
that.
one.
It's
It's
like
very
shooting that way.
This thing is perfect for this.
Yeah,
It's shooting up north.
Yeah, I got one right here. Wow. It is so cold. We are freezing out here.
Dude.
So right now we're just scanning the mountains and the ridges over here.
We're trying to shoot a beam down into the gorge.
Okay.
See if we can get a.
Oh, shnikes.
Wow, that flashlight's insane.
Now completely baffled,
So he's using a flashlight. What I've been trying to order is like a green laser. They're all sold out. You can't buy them anywhere. I'm going to try again.
but at the same time curious to find out if this is indeed some sort of strange phenomenon or people camping down there. They point a very strong flashlight towards it, and this is what happens.
Yeah, let's see if we could get like a response.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
Shnikes.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Whatever they did with the flashlight, it seems to have worked, so they decide to flash
Maybe
it
green
once
laser.
more. And this is what they caught on camera.
What on you?
Yeah, but I can't get to it right now. What do you need?
I've got one on me. I don't know. I was gonna try to signal and see if something would happen. See if there's like a response.
Give it a shot.
What? Wow.
We do not have laser
Oh
pointers.
my.
So I've gotten that, like, when I do overnight security, I'm like, oh my God, what is that red light? It's coming from the sky. I used to think it was a UFO, and I also saw, like, different lights on the ridge that didn't make sense. But it was always Venus. But yeah, could be something else. I don't know.
God.
You got a good one?
I got one in the air floating.
What?
I have one floating above the mountain. Do you see it with your eyes? Do you see it with your eyes? It's red. It's one of these like balls of light.
One of those alien orbs. There's two
Oh my
of them.
God! They're rising. They're rising in the air.
That's insane.
They're just rising in the air over the mountain. There's two over here.
Whatever these things are, they now seem to be rising towards the air, and Jessie and her team are completely baffled and pretty sure that these are not people camping or airplanes. This is something else entirely. Check this out.
It looks like there's another one.
You got another light in the sky?
I've got one rising. Can you see that? Can you guys see that? Do you see that ball of light just rising above the mountain?
Yep.
Jesse, there's three of them.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Look at them.
Jesse or Tessie?
They're just hovering. This is the craziest thing. I didn't expect anything like this at all.
They're just rising up.
That is so bizarre.
What's that flickering?
The
Is
fourth
that an
one's rising up
airplane?
from the forest right now. You've got the two bright ones, one on top of the other. The other.
They're like lined up. Hold it at kind of an angle. You can really see these things
Alien
just
arms.
rising in the sky.
This is not what I expected. I expected ghost lights in the woods, which we saw already.
Not in the
This is
sky.
almost like UFO like type. This is cool.
That's what I'm saying.
Now the top one's starting to get brighter again. The third one's disappeared. Although I think I've got a plane in the distance. I've got one moving to the left, one slowly moving to the right.
After posting the video to YouTube, it left the entire internet completely baffled. Whatever these things are, it's very clear that the brown mountain lights are not just some ghostly lights in the woods. This is possibly something else. Some people believe that the brown mountain lights are actually related to extraterrestrial activity, while others state that there are underground bases hidden within the region. To this day, no one knows.
I just learned last night doing TikToks, they're called dumb. Deep underground military bases? I never heard that before until this particular person, which I've tried to have on the show, but they're not him, but whoever takes care of it is like, well, how many people listen? How many people do this and this and that and that? Whatever. Can we just get the word out? But yeah. Dumb. Deep underground military bases. There's been theories as far as like St. Elmo's fire, all kinds of shit like that. Like in Washington State, we went out one night just to look. Like there's supposed to be a light. You park at this certain place, at the end of the road, this light will appear. Supernatural. Is that paranormal or is that alien? I think paranormal is paranormal, not normal. But anyways, let's continue.
Knows what is causing this unexplained phenomenon. What is known is that it was first officially reported in the 1700s by German engineer Gerard Wildebraum. At the time, he attributed the lights to nitrous vapors, but then people slowly realized that that wasn't it. Even after hundreds of years, people had absolutely no idea what was causing these mysterious orbs to show up.
Yeah.
What the crap is happening?
Matter of fact, I've got like 6 or 8 of them all lined up across here, folks.
Things got so serious that in 1922, an FBI agent known as G.E. Moore was dispatched to investigate the lights, and despite his efforts, he wasn't able to conclude anything, which added even more intrigue to the mystery. Now, taking into consideration that hundreds of people...
Sorry guys, yes, as far as this stuff goes, it was just looking at my face instead of doing the whole thing, so let's go, LATSGO, and go back to this video. Hopefully we're in the same spot as we were before. If not, I shall scroll ahead and make it so, but holy shnikes, that was weird. Like, why did it go from being 2-stage to just me? I don't get it. Come on, centuries stink. Dude, I spent so much time this weekend talking to a freaking robot. I'm so tired of talking to robots. Okay, so let's play this, and I shall fast forward. Oh, we're there. Good. Good. Alright. So I think I have to pause this. And it makes me wonder too, like, is this internet connection? Or is this paranormal? Or is it this crazy ass fucking bun on my head? Just kidding. No, it's either paranormal or century stink. Dealt with this. I'm just making sure my presentation is correct. Share screen. Got the screen. String. Okay, share. Here we go.
Woods. This is possibly something else. Some people believe that the brown mountain lights are actually related to extraterrestrial activity, while others state that there are underground bases hidden with...
So what do you guys think? Like, okay, let me put an X on this, but anyways. Are aliens coming from space? I think some of them are, because there's so many... I've heard 36, 60-something, etc. Like, more and more species. I think some come from space, but some are from, like, underground or underwater USOs. Hard to put your finger on it. Seriously, come on.
Within the region. To this day, no one knows what is causing this unexplained phenomenon. What is known is that it was first officially reported in the 1700s by German engineer Gerard Wildebraum. At the time, he attributed the lights to nitrous vapors, but then people slowly realized that that wasn't it. Even after hundreds of years, people had absolutely no idea what was causing these mysterious orbs to show up.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I've got like 6 or 8 of them all lined up across here, folks.
Things got so serious that in 1922, an FBI agent known as G.E. Moore was dispatched to investigate the lights, and despite his efforts, he wasn't able to conclude anything, which added even more intrigue to the mystery. Now, taking into consideration that hundreds of people have seen and sometimes even photographed these mysterious orbs, I would say that this is possibly the real deal.
Dude, they're chasing that! Willie, they're chasing that! Look how many there are!
Oh my god!
Isn't that crazy?
They're chasing the ball, bro! They're chasing this, bro, look! The recruits!
Whatever.
Oh my god, bro.
But I want to know your thoughts. Do you think that this is possibly related to extraterrestrial activity? Or is it something else?
I do, because guess what? Let me put an X on this. But anywho's like, I'm out there working in the yard. I love digging in the dirt, putting my fingers and my toes and all the stuff in the dirt. And I have my kids, like, not only have they seen a ghost child following me, but they're like, oh, look, there's a UFO. How the fuck do you know what a UFO is? Except for earlier in the years, they almost got abducted. Luckily, as they were rising up and the thing hadn't closed, Floyd jumped out, then Lily jumped out. And I think Floyd jumped on one of their heads. And Lily's like, so funny. It was so weird. Like, I was working security at the time, and I'm like, yeah, let us tell you this dream. And it was not a dream, it was a shared experience. Anyways, that shit is really out there. And look at these. Look at this. Okay, right now, it's a freaking triangular effect. Sometimes it's a triangular UFO. Sometimes they just go into this coordination.
Entirely.
It's so freaking weird.
Now, when it comes to strange things in the Appalachian region, there's more. And there's one in particular that caught a lot of attention throughout history, and that would be the Lake Champlain monster known as Champ. Now, the story of Champ dates back to Native American folklore, with the Abenaki and Iroquois tribes describing a large serpentine creature inhabiting the lake. The first recorded sighting of this mysterious creature happened in the 1600s by Samuel Champlain. Since then, there have been over 300 reported sightings of Champ, making it a very popular topic.
I have to say, this is the very first time I've ever seen this creature. Yes, I've heard the name. I've never seen video, like the first one that showed the teeth and stuff. What?
Topic, and attracting tourists and cryptozoologists alike.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's going straight towards the bottom. It ain't scared.
Now, even though there are countless stories and reports of the presence of a dinosaur-like creature that inhabits the deep waters of Lake Champlain, it is officially seen as a myth, just a bad time story. But maybe it isn't.
Okay, so let's get into that, shall we? So, you know, this certain island that's just off the cusp of the South Pole. There's been this thing that has been shown repeatedly, going up this way, going up that way, like, it's done it repeatedly. They're like, oh, it's just a glitch. Is it really? I don't think so. Like, it's something else. And then we have the beaching of not only whales, but dolphins, and then people, like, shoo them off the shore and they come back. They're fucking scared. And, like, this one woman was saying, like, I can't sleep because I hear them screaming, and they're screaming for help. Like, what the fuck do you do to help this? Like, we need a bigger boat. We need to go out there with a bigger boat and kill this motherfucker, because this thing is ginormous. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I'll come up with it.
On August 4th, 2022, Johnny Hoffman and his family had traveled over to Lake Champlain to stay around for a few days and enjoy their vacation home. 20 minutes after they arrived, they did what anyone would do, and they went over to the lake to see the beautiful scenery. And this is what happened.
Yeah. What is that?
I see some pins of water.
It's very long, very big. That ain't no fucking log. Right there.
Upon arriving at the lake, they're surprised by something in the distance. What at first looks like some sort of huge creature can be seen swimming in the lake. Completely baffled, they get their cameras and immediately begin to record. After posting the video, several internet users seem to agree that this might actually be Champ, while others state that this is possibly a sturgeon. But if we zoom in,
I just have to say really quick, do you see how the kids are? Like, they're not scared. Like, back in the day, we would be scared. We would be so frightened. Even my kids are like, Mom, look, there's a UFO. Or Mom, look, it's this. Like, they're so excited. They're so enamored. They're so open to these things. It's amazing.
and in slow-mo the video, it becomes quite clear that whatever this thing is, it's massive. So it could just be that Johnny Hoffman caught one of the best video evidences of the existence of Champ. But it doesn't stop.
Oh, I think I remember now. I was trying to look it up, and guess what? Google's not letting me. I do not use AI. AI fucking scares me. Last time I dealt with AI, I was trying to do the 3 a.m. challenge. Then all of a sudden it's like, did you summon me? No, bitch, I didn't. And it keeps popping up. But anywho's, the Leviathan. So, there's been stories in the past about the Leviathan. Could that be what is out there? Like, look at the size of it. And people, like sailors, etc., have talked about this. You know, you think they got time for fairy tales and shit? No. I do believe the Leviathan exists. I don't think this is it. But looking at the size of this and what it's doing, where it's going, and what these animals like whales and dolphins and such are doing, even the fish just going crazy in circles. Could be global warming, could be, you know, Fukushima fucking everything up. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, because I don't know everything. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Up there.
Oh wow.
In this next video posted by Weird Theater YouTube channel, we can see what looks like a serpent-like creature emerging from the lake.
What about that one over there? Wow.
Whatever this thing is, this is definitely not a sturgeon. This is something else entirely. But what?
Definitely not. Yeah, look at the body. Look at that body.
While some believe that this could be just a log or maybe an animal like a deer, others state that you can clearly see the length of the animal as it approaches the shore, and that most of it seems to be underwater.
Yeah, just like an alligator.
In another video posted by Brian the Beast YouTube channel, we can see something similar once again in Lake Champlain. Check this out.
Holy shit. What? No, that is not a log. That is some sort of living critter. So, we have been talking about Nessie for a while. Not only is Nessie up in Scotland and other places like that, they're in other places. Like, look at this. Nessie, you know, they breed, they do certain things. They're very kind of hybrid or hiding out, just like Bigfoot is. But look at this
recent video posted by D-Money13 on TikTok, we can see what looks like a very long creature swimming in Lake Champlain.
Oh my god, what is that?
Oh yeah.
What is that? There's something in the back too.
After posting the video, several internet users left comments stating that this is possibly a sturgeon. But once again, it looks as if it's too big to be a fish. So, what is this? Could it actually be that there's some sort of dinosaur-like creature still swimming in the deep waters of Lake Champlain? I want to know your thoughts. What do you really think is going on, and why are there so many myths and legends of lake monsters all over the world?
That thing scares the fuck out of me. What the fuck is that?
Being a vast area with large portions of dense, remote forests, the Appalachian Mountains provides the perfect cover for a serial killer or an ill-intentioned person to lurk in the shadows.
Serial
The
killer,
rugged
I'm a serial killer. Serial killer, me and I. Serial killer, just a serial killer. Never seen a girl I didn't like. Sorry, I had to sing that because one of the verses of my husband's songs. If you want to hear more, just let me know.
rugged terrain, isolated trails, and limited cell phone reception can actually make it easy for such individuals to evade any type of detection.
Yes.
And I guess that this is sort of what happened to Katie Rementer while she was staying at a lodge with her family in Greenville, Maine. Now, Greenville is a very small town with a population of about 2,000 people, and it's only a 24-mile distance walk from the Appalachian Trail, which makes Greenville the perfect stop for hikers.
I'm hiking. I swear somebody's following me. I could hear them like right behind me, but every time I look back, there's nobody there.
Explore.
Huh?
Oh man,
What?
I hope everybody's okay. I hate when I hear sirens.
What?
It gives me PTSD.
What is that?
Oh wow. I will kill again.
That was not there last night.
No, that was.
Oh, okay.
It was a very cold night, and Katie and her family were having dinner with a couple of friends at a nearby restaurant, when all of a sudden Katie notices a man standing outside and staring and nodding at her. At the time, she kind of shrugged it off, and after having dinner, they went back to the lodge. And while tucking the kids to bed, she starts hearing someone pacing back and forth just outside their room. Completely freaked out, she checks the window, and this is what she sees.
POV, you're one of two guests staying in a lounge in Real Maine, and you see this motherfucker. Are you fucking serious? What?
In the video, the
what's that
figure
at
of
the
a
top of the
creepy
head?
man can be seen
What the
approaching
fuck is that?
Katie's lodge. He then proceeds to stop and just
Is
stand
that like
there,
a third eye?
staring
Or
at
what
her
the fuck
window.
is that?
And at this moment, Katie realizes that this is the same man from the restaurant. Not knowing exactly how to proceed and what to do next, Katie stays there quiet, observing the man's every movement.
That's fucked up. That is not normal. It's like, please excuse me while I never sleep again. Seriously, high five, because...
It didn't take long before Katie and her husband realized it.
And I'm just saying, like, last night, okay, so my daughter dropped her dog off because she's like, it's too hot in the car for Venus, my Venus to be there, so I dropped him off at your house. And I'm like, I wish I would have known, because, like, the dog's broken and then Venus is there, and I'm like, what the fuck is Venus doing here? I feel like I'm in a whole different world. But anywho's, get him out, get the rest of the dogs out, and then after she came back for Bean, I hear crackling out here because, you know, my husband likes to throw water bottles. It's kind of like a home security system. I hear this crack, crack, crack. And if you watched last night, you know, I opened the door and I looked, and there's two glowing eyes. That's what
They
that
would have to
motherfucker
call
did.
the cops. So they
He's
call
the
the
goat
lodge
killer.
owner, who actually calls the
And-
cops, and this.
Not only did he call Goat, yesterday he tried to kill Blue. Blue is a long-haired shepherd thing, supposedly black German shepherd. Nope, he's a black German something. Black shepherd something. He's sitting there on the porch with his head out the grate, and he was like, okay, so I have this part of my body out, this part of my body forward. If you don't attack my face, it'll be okay. Because, you know, he's got the most gorgeous face. But no, Hercules is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." And then Bean's like, yeah. And then I'm sitting here in my office trying to get ready for my show, and I hear yipe, yipe, yipe. And I did talk about this last night, but anyways, I went through water on clerk, let Blue in, because otherwise, it's just going to be drama for your mama.
This is what happens.
Oh my god, this thing is so fucking creepy. I don't like the way its hands are by its side. I don't like it. It's kind of like militant with a third fucking eye. This isn't great.
The lodge owner and the police promptly show up and talk to the man, who states that he's actually staying in the lodge next door. After coming to the conclusion that he wasn't doing anything wrong, they leave, and the man just continues there, staring at Katie's lodge. At this point, you can imagine how freaked out Katie and her family were.
Isn't it cool that those two guys came in, like the first guy like, hey, what the fuck you doing, asshole? And the other guy like, yeah, what the fuck you doing? Go fuck the fuck off. That's redonkulous.
Find out that the man actually told them that he was a schizophrenic. Now, even if this is
Sorry.
Not only that, when the
No, I'm trying to pause. Just schizophrenic. I just heard last night a story where something normal happened, and this person's like, sorry, I'm schizophrenic, so therefore I did this. So schizophrenic means you have different or multiple personalities? What the fuck you doing, boo? You okay? Are you fractured like me? I don't know. You okay? Just let me know. Like, we can talk about it.
if he knows exactly what he's doing. So I'm not exactly sure if he was telling the truth entirely. But when it comes to strange encounters in the Appalachian Mountains, it doesn't stop there.
I think if... What the fuck, dude? Why does it keep muting instead of pausing? Anyways, I think he was just like, oh yeah, I'm busted. Instead of, trying to continue. I'm busted. Anyways, let's see what's happening now.
Connecticut, just a few miles away from the Appalachian Trail. It was on June 17, 2006, that a family that lived near Chase Avenue started noticing strange patterns of shadow figures lurking in the woods behind their property. Thinking that this could be a burglar or a person with bad intentions, they tried to capture it on camera several times without any success. But on one cloudy afternoon, this happened.
Well, as you're just shooting back and forth, like, what the fuck is happening right now? Zooming in, you see something. What the fuck do you see? Do you see it, Adrian? Oh, I think I see it. Creeping up. It's back there in the back, in the midst.
Hi, it's me again. I'm just calling, just to let you know. I've seen that thing again. I'm in the backyard. I've got the camera on. I'm trying to capture it. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to see if I can get it. Anyway, give me a call when you get this message. Bye.
Hey. And then? Where are we going? I'm confused.
After leaving an eerie voice message at his wife's cell phone, he runs downstairs to get a better angle of the woods behind his property. And this is what happens.
So I'm wondering, was that a security system and he's seeing something? It was a huge something that I saw. You might see something different. I saw something laying over and a huge body. It could be something else that I didn't see. Let's see what the fuck he saw, because seriously. What the fuck, dude? What are you seeing? Oh,
no!
Holy shit! Yeah.
What is that?
Freaking shadow person, dude!
No.
That was a fucking shadow person. Oh, is that a code he has to enter to record it, or?
Yeah, it's me. I've just seen that thing. I've actually got it on camera. I'll show you when you get home.
Did you see that? What actually looks like some sort of translucent shadow figure can be seen crossing the woods behind their property. Whatever this thing is, it left the property owner completely.
So I'm saying, here I was seeing, this reaching over, I'm like, is this the body of something right here? It's got his hind legs here, kind of middle part here. Here's the arm going forward. No, here's this motherfucking shadow person.
Be baffled. After being posted to YouTube, many internet users seem to agree that this is the real deal. Not only that, it seems that Dudley Town is actually surrounded by strange stories of paranormal events and mysterious and unexplained deaths and murders that supposedly took place in this very small town close to.
I actually have to say, like, okay, so I think it was second music break. I was going out there and I saw a big black mass. Like, what is that? I didn't know if it was a person or something, so I just like kicked my foot out into it and it dispersed. But I was just like, what the fuck?
To the Appalachian Trail.
It was not
now, even though this isn't the highest quality video ever.
Also, I have to tell you, John, the guy that lived here before we lived here, he was here earlier because Vern, nobody is here. It's just me. And he was out there in my bedroom coughing. I'm like, hey, nice to see you, John. Holy shit.
If we slow-mo and zoom in on the video, you can clearly see what looks like a translucent figure walking in the woods.
That's intense,
could it actually be that this is a legit shadow person caught on camera?
Yeah.
And could this video help prove that the Appalachian Mountains are indeed haunted, like many believe? What's your take?
That's what I just said.
Now, if there's one interesting place to visit in the Appalachian region, that would be the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Oh, shit.
It attracts over 12 million visitors every year, making it one of the most visited national parks in the United States.
Today brings us to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and we're going on a bit of a hike.
Renowned for its stunning natural beauty and biodiversity, the park offers several tourist attractions, including Clingman's Dome, the highest point in Tennessee. On April 30th, 2011, a group of people were hiking at Clingman's Dome. It was a very cold day, weather conditions weren't the best, when all of a sudden they spot what at first looks like a bear. But then this thing stands upright and they slowly realize that this isn't a bear, this is something else. They get their cameras and immediately begin to record what was about to become one of the most viral videos when it comes to Bigfoot. Check this out.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And there's power in numbers, so I want to see some more movement. Hello, mister. Oh my god.
What's he doing?
He's trying to figure out what the fuck to do next, because there's so many of you. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for him.
What looks like a tall, furry, humanoid creature can be seen in the distance, and
like if you were in his position, and there's all these fucking humanoids, or okay, so from our perspective, these little people, or fucking something like that, wouldn't you be scared shitless? I feel so bad for him. I feel like Bigfoot is our cousin, and I feel like they're being fucked over all the freaking time. News, let me go over here really quick like and do my I just want to say night-night, love and light to all my brothers and sisters out there. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, KPNL Radio, Twitter, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and wherever else beyond the Omniverse you're listening tonight. Don't forget, we're all in this together. Together we can make the world a bit better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media. Until next time, night-night, love and light. You guys, take care of your yous. Like, don't feed into the government and all this freaking shit going off on our TVs. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your friends. Like, together, we're gonna rise up. We're gonna be better. Let's stick together. So, I hope my extra special peoples, aka my sheeples, stick together, rise together. Until next time, night-night, love and light, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Please don't work too hard.